Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Can you hear?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So, we are tuned in today for another Beauty in the Brain podcast. How you feeling this morning, Mom?
I feel pretty good. Pretty good.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling all right. You know, taking every day in stride. It's been a work week.
How was your work week?
My work week was really easy this week.
Easy.
Yeah, it was easy. More like tedious task. That makes like doing the same thing over and over.
Okay.
So it was like that. So it was like real chill, and I had to interact with no people and nothing like that.
Are you an introvert?
I am, yeah.
I am too, a little bit, just a smidge.
From the extremes, you know how I do.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is gonna be another show where you take over.
Okay.
So, the reign is yours. It's now 9:00 on Saturday morning. Everybody, you should be up by now, but I know most people probably not. No, we do. But when you are up and teeth have been brushed, you get you something to eat. We got Dunkin'.
We do.
You gonna eat them?
No. A little dry.
So once you get your breakfast and all that situated, then y'all tune in with us, sit down here, because we're going to be discussing some new topics, some different things, especially some topics that people don't really like to go into in the South.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's okay to hurt a little feelings sometimes.
That's true.
All right. So our current events for this day, the episode 5, do you believe that trees can talk and move?
Oh, you went right into it.
Yeah.
You said, do I believe that trees can talk and move?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And
Very
why?
much so. Well, okay. You were once a small baby, right?
Right.
The tree was once a seed. So in order for a tree to get from this to this, it has to move, just like your body has to move, right? So, and if you're out there, like, you can pay attention to this, because one time I was sitting outside and I was sitting there and I was just, in my own thoughts, and there was no breeze. It was a summer day. And I was sitting outside my aunt's house, and I looked up in a tree, and one branch, repositioned to put itself in the sun.
Wow.
Just one. So I ran in the house, and I was telling everybody, man, look, man, the tree moving. I just saw it. This is that and the third.
They believe you?
They told my mama that I was on crack.
Wow.
So, you know what I'm saying? But yes, I do believe that trees can move.
I believe him too, because people on TikTok have been documenting it. They go up to the tree and they're like, "Tree, if you can hear me, move or tap my shoulder." And they literally record the tree moving and tapping their shoulder. I ain't heard them talk yet, but yeah.
Oh, for tree talk, I'm done. Did you see where they were doing aerial? Like, they had what's that thing? A drone? And they were over the top of the forest, and you could see the tree going through the other trees. Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
The trees walking
Wow.
from one place to another.
That would make sense.
It would, because they show us in the movies too.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that one movie? The Lord of the Rings.
Right.
The trees
It moved a little bit.
The trees was walking. Interesting.
I think they're trying to tell us something.
I think so too. We should start stitching videos, I think.
Okay.
Because when we talk about the current events, and then especially if it's like a video or something, then we can show the TikTok side by side so people can see what we're talking about. That way we're not just coming out thin air, because you know how folks is.
Because people think we're crazy.
Exactly. Can you do your hand in that Dr. Spock thing? I can do that. So they say you alien blood if you can do that.
Everybody can do that.
No, everybody can't do that.
Everybody can't do this.
Exactly. Everybody can't do that.
Wow.
I know. Interesting, right?
That's real interesting.
Yeah. It is. But for the trees, yes, trees can move. Yes, trees need respect. And yes, some of these mountains that you think are mountains are trees.
I can see that.
Oh man, the rabbit hole goes deep. But go ahead, move right along.
Okay, so our next topic would be all U.S. presidents are related to King John of England, all except for one. That's why you get like all of them in line. So
That's
I wouldn't
facts.
think it's a democracy. I think it's a monarchy.
Facts. It is under the illusion of a separate.
Right.
Right. But that is very true. Their bloodline all correlates. Who's is Trump? Trump not one?
I don't think he's the only one that's not related.
And it shows.
That's deep.
That's very deep. So when what we've been dealing with this whole time has been the agenda of the crown of England. Now, to talk about this,
Might get banned again.
huh?
We might get banned again, but it's fine.
No, it's fine because the reality is that our country has always been ran by the crown, be through a paperwork. So there's really only so many square kilometers that the government actually controls, and it's in a city state, and you know what that is, right?
No.
You never heard of that? So all over the world, there's 3 city states.
Okay.
One is the Vatican. Then there's one that's here, which is D.C. And then there's one, if I'm not mistaken, is in Switzerland, I think, where they do like the Swiss bank accounts and all that, if I'm not mistaken. I can look it up.
Okay.
Sitting here, I can sit right here. I can just look it up.
Go ahead.
So these city states, their job is to be a satellite for the echelon, for lack of a better term. So these satellites are there to enforce policy. They're there to constrict the land that they're in with paperwork and commerce. Right, let's see. You're going to talk now. City states. So it's considered a sovereign city, right? And let's see, the 3 that we have now are, don't do that.
It's not showing you anything.
It's not showing. Hit city states in the world. Let's look again. Wow.
It's not on there?
It's not on there. So listen, this is what it says though. The 3 agreed upon city states, these are the 3 that have been agreed upon, are Monaco and Singapore and then Vatican City. So those are the 3 that were supposedly agreed to create. The people went into it. Everything else was forced. So when you think about Washington, D.C. being a city state, it was forced on the people that live there. You know what I'm saying? And look at us now. Our government forces things on us.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yes. Very interesting.
Very interesting. They don't tell you that. They don't tell you that in the school books.
No, they don't. They can't. Because then they'll tell you where the money flowing and where the power is. You know what I'm saying? So now you know where to go to get stuff changed. Like, for instance, did you know we're under a new constitution? You didn't know? So Trump, in 2020, Trump signed a new constitution that was supposed to dissolve the old one. And that new constitution had a different set of rules for the corporate charter in America. So you're not able to coerce people anymore, trick people, gaslight people. You know what I'm saying? You know how these tactics that all these companies use to get money away from us and to strip us? All of that was supposedly been dissolved. The issue is that people don't know that they're under the Constitution for years because it takes a while to spread. So while it's spreading, Walmart's still taking advantage of you. Bank of America's still taking advantage of you because you don't know. You know what I'm saying?
You know.
What you think? How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel kind of slighted. I mean, the other Constitution didn't really protect us black folks, so what is
You know I'm gonna say something, but
ahead.
it was built to protect us. It was
how?
well because I don't have you ever seen that picture where in like the earlier days you had the European politicians that were standing there with the Indians and they had this painting of it or whatever. So when that was happening, these people wanted in to these people's land. They wanted in to be able to do business, things like that, right? So the Indians knew better than to let them in without contracts.
Okay.
So the contract that they created was called it was the original Constitution, the first 7 or 4 or 5, something like that. And then the other ones were like ratified and added later.
Okay.
But the first ones were inalienable rights, like your right to travel. Nobody can stop your right to travel. That's in the Constitution, right? However, the state come and tell you got to have a driver's license. Interesting.
It is.
Now, for a driver's license, the only people who are supposed to have a driver's license are people who are doing commercial activities. Like if I'm transporting goods from a warehouse to a store, or if like what you do Uber, if I'm transporting people, then you need a driver's license because you're in commerce, right? But everybody else that's in their own private vessel, their own private vehicle, their car, they're just going to go get something to eat. That's your right to travel. Nobody can stop that right. So you don't need a license. You don't need a state tag. You don't need none of that.
Wow.
To travel. How you gonna give a person driving a horse and a buggy a driver's license?
You can't.
You can't, because you can't tell the horse where to go and where not
Right.
to go. You know what I'm saying? What do I need with a license plate on a buggy if I'm traveling? Right? Don't your car have horsepower?
Yeah.
And it transports people, right? And goods. Personally and private. Nobody can tell you can't go anywhere. You can't cross state lines. These are our rules because these people came in trying to restrict us from the beginning. More you know.
The more you know.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
They making money off of us, though. A lot of money.
That's right. The mayor of Florida said it some years back. What was that? Who was the one that was before DeSantis? Who was the mayor before DeSantis? I mean, the governor.
Was it Charlie Crist?
Chris?
I think
It was one of them.
it was one of them.
They went public and they were talking to them about the driver's license policy. And he was asked, what do you think about the fact that people don't need driver's license and people their right to travel? And what he said is that it's a real thing. People don't really need a driver's license, but if they go down there and get it, I'm not going to stop them.
You don't need a driver's license.
You don't need it. It's not necessary. See, the issue is that when you go to, let's say if I go to Navy Federal and I say I want to get a new bank account, they're taught or told or enforced by the ones that are above them, corporate, to ask for a certain type of ID, which then forces the general public to have to go into those lanes to go get that certain type of criteria. You get what I'm saying? So they're driving you to do that when you don't even need it. It's not necessary. Isn't that crazy?
This whole time I thought it was because of like identification purposes. Like, how can I tell you John Doe? You know what I'm saying?
How can you tell your John? Well, because it's my word.
But I guess that wasn't enough for them.
Well, it's not enough for the machine. No. The machine has to know what you look like, your age, your height, your weight, your blood type, the drawers you buy, the car you drive, type shoes you like to wear, type of food you like to eat. This is the computer. The computer needs to know everything. So the computer creates ways to keep you in that.
But humans programmed to... Never mind. That's a whole rant.
No, I'm saying, bro, say it because people pay attention to us for a lot of reasons.
But humans program the computers, so I just don't get why it's needed.
Why it's needed like that?
Yeah.
Well, because how else can you continue to rob the original people? it won't work organically. You can't do it from an organic standpoint.
This is sad. It really is.
It's really sad. It's really sad. But you know, the good thing about all of this is that the further we go along, the more we're shifting, because it's so much toxicity to the point that being alkaline is what we're starting to desire. Does that make sense? And because we're starting to desire that reality, it has to come true because we are the creators on this planet. It's us. So we have to create an alkaline environment for ourselves. There's going to be a separation. There's going to be a separation happening.
I already see it going on. It's happening.
Yeah. So all the toxicity can be over there.
It need to, but.
And then alkaline, yeah. It's going to happen. Interesting. Interesting. So what else you got?
Okay, so an AI nanny is being created by the Chinese to go grow babies in robot wombs.
Oh, yeah. What did you think about that when you saw that?
I thought it was kind of creepy. It kind of felt like something we seen in the movies long time ago, and now it's coming to life.
It was a movie about that, called I Am Mother.
Wow.
You saw that movie?
No.
So I'm gonna send it to you so you
Send
can
it to me.
so you can go watch it. Cause let's see, the I Am Mother was a movie about this girl that was raised in an incubator. She was they put her in an incubator after she got fertilized or whatever, and so the robot was watching the baby as it was growing in the incubation, and then once the incubation was complete, then the robot came on as a caretaker. The girl couldn't leave the facility, and the robot was there to raise her from a child. So that was the teacher, that was her food prep, that was everything. And the child imprinted on the robot. But in reality, you go watch the movie.
I kind of feel like I know what's gonna happen. Like,
What you think?
The robot develops feelings like a real mother, and she just starts, I guess, rebellion against the fact that she's a human and she wants to have human interactions.
Much more sinister.
Whoa.
Much worse.
Much worse.
Much worse. You got to go watch, because the end of it, at the end of the movie, it completely flips your mind because you're not expecting what the outcome is. You got to remember the title is called I Am Mother, but mother of what? That's the real. So what is the robot the mother of?
Wow.
Go watch the movie. I'm telling you. I'm not going to spoil the end.
You got to send it to me. You got to send it to me.
Okay. All right. But I think it's on net. Is it on Netflix? It's somewhere on there. It's either on Netflix or Prime Video. You don't got that?
I do, but
You don't watch it?
No.
See?
The last thing I watched on Prime was what? Waiting to Exhale.
What?
Yes. I paid that $3.99 for it.
You bought it?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me this, because I was on the app or whatever watching videos, and I was just thinking to myself, so back in the gap, like early 2000, a lot of people had a wall of movies. Like you would go to their house and they would have like this whole wall, everything. Then you had cable on TV, and you paid for your normal subscription. And then you had pay-per-view channels where you could watch boxing or the new movies that just came out. So you did all that for a monthly subscription fee, which was maybe sometimes between $80 to $130, right? Okay, cool. So now we have Netflix,
Right.
right? We have all these different video services. But when you go into them, they all ask you to pay for certain movies, right? So your TV is still separate from your pay-per-view. And all those movies they're making you pay for is movies that you would have went and bought from Walmart.
Right.
So instead of having to pay for them over and over and over and over, you would have just had them already accessible. So in that regard, has the digital services that we've been provided actually helped us or just made us more broke? Hell,
Make us more broke.
it's making us more broke.
Yes.
we was good the way we had it.
I remember growing up, my dad, he got every movie that came out. And I'm not just saying like one or two things. He would get like cases and cases of DVDs from this lady. She would just burn them and just give them away. And I would be like, wow, we have literally every movie you can think of.
Right.
But now
it's different now.
It's different.
And even if you go in for stuff like you said, Waiting to Exhale. You know when that movie came out?
In the 90s.
In the 90s. And they're making you pay for something you would have had on DVD from years ago.
Right. Or VHS.
So you wouldn't even have to go pay no money for something that at this point should be given to you.
I honestly don't even know where my VHS player or DVD player is. I feel like that's a good reason why.
Can those things even hook up to the TV we have now? Oh, yeah, they can.
I feel like they can because they hook up with just the HDMI cord.
Okay. So don't sleep on the old school way.
I'm finna go dust it off.
Don't sleep on the old school way. I'm telling you now. I was about to say let the power go out. But if the power go out, you can't use it no way. So
or get your cable turned off. You know, that's everybody knows the no cable starter pack was the antenna to watch PBS Kids and a whole bunch of Tyler Perry plays on DVD.
Man. That dude.
What about him?
Man, come on, man.
Is that a rant I feel?
That dude, man, it's you know, I'm one thing that I'm really tired of when it comes down to how we are represented out here is the fact that it's always two sides to it. Like so I can come at it and be like, you know what, Tyler Perry is really destroying the image of the black man in America.
And you're going to have a whole bunch of people hating you for that.
He really is. He's really getting paid to destroy the image of the black man. You know what I mean? And then, like you said, a whole bunch of people have something to say. Oh, no, Tyler Perry, this, that, and the third.
He's a man of God.
Right. Because he's also a philanthropist. Now, see, this how the devil work, y'all. Since we talking about the church today. This how the devil work. He gonna make you feel good while destroying you at the same time. So make you feel like you got a purpose and destroy you in the same sentence. So every time we get these new people that come up and they, we take to them, we really support them. You know what I mean? Later on, it's always something wrong with them.
To me, he was always sketchy. I mean, he made good plays. I will say that. He was always sketchy. Like, why are you so comfortable dressing as a female every single chance you get? Like, I don't get it.
Exactly. I'm talking about the slip, all that.
The slip, the boobs, the makeup,
it's weird.
It's weird to me.
So now we go into Hollywood agenda. Because it's a few artists that spoke out about men always having to put a dress on.
Right. They said it's like a humiliation type, what's it called? Initiation.
Initiation. Yes. That's real. So in that initiation, because Kevin Hart did it, you remember, on Saturday Night Live? I don't think Martin with Big Mama House.
Jamie Foxx
did it with Wanda. All of these different men. I never seen Denzel in a dress.
You ain't gonna see Unc in no dress now.
Unc ain't wearing no dress.
He ain't finna do it.
It's certain ones. I never seen Samuel Jackson in a dress either.
Heck no. I feel like as soon as they like gave him that, like pitched it to him, he was like, no, he cussed him out from the gate.
You heard what they tried to do to Dave Chappelle too. He was like, no, they kept coming back over and over and over, the producers or whatever. Man, just wear the dress, man. It'll be all right. All the greats did it, you know. But it's like, man, what's the thing with this man in a dress thing? Y'all sick minded. Eddie Murphy did it.
Yeah, he did it in the Nutty Professor. He made all different characters, and then he did Norbit.
I never seen Michael Jackson in a dress.
You never gonna see him in a dress now.
That's weird, man.
Very weird.
That's weird. And the thing that's crazy about it is now a lot of the new age like comedians and like things that's coming out, you know, they don't mind putting a wig on. They don't mind dressing up, putting 5-inch nails on and makeup to get their comedy across in so many words. But all y'all is now dressing like women, like it's normal. You know what I mean? Cross dressing.
Right.
Even though, you know, we'll say, oh yeah, that's entertainment, ha ha ha. You know.
Is it though?
But is it though?
Do you have something to share with us?
Right. You know, you're a little too comfortable in that where you flipping your hair and pulling at their dress, sir.
And all the mannerisms, like they got them down to a science.
That's horrible.
Scandalous.
Scandalous. That's right. Sensational. What's Scott said?
Future?
Yeah.
Sensational.
Sensational. Scandalous.
All right. So
Horrible.
the NYC immigrant crisis is about 3,000 a week.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Okay, so this is a real current event. This is really happening right now. Their population report in New York said that over the past year, 3,000 people a day coming in. Okay? Immigrant. Remember Biden had put out that order for them to be shipped around the country when they came across the border. You know, you remember that, right? They're given incentivized with money, bus ticket, plane ticket, whatever. Go to your final destination. So these people are spreading around the country, right? Question I have is this: who's filtering who's coming in? Like, if you're normally when you come into another country, right? You have to apply for citizenship. You got to study and take a test. And you have to show these people a certain agency that you're fit to be a part of this society. That ain't even a thing no more.
It's not.
No.
What?
It's not. You know, look around. We out here. Pensacola. All of a sudden, we have all of these Mexican workers for construction. You ain't noticed?
I've noticed it, but I thought they just always been there.
Since when?
I'm just saying, Mexicans, they pack in the house now. It's going to be about 20, 30 people living in that, like, 3-bedroom house.
Okay, but you've been alive for 20-some years. How many large groups of Hispanic people have you seen in Pensacola?
Quite a few.
To the point where, let me say this, you see the women and the children out shopping where you shop.
Right.
Out shopping where you shop, out eating where you eat. That's new.
It is.
It's a new thing.
It's a lot of Mexican restaurants opening up too.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Dang.
So, but then you got to say, like, think, like, look where they living at.
In our neighborhoods.
Where the bomb at? You got the bomb on me. There you go, right there. That's the bomb. Baby. They living in our neighborhoods, right?
Right.
So they're taking over our neighborhoods. Now, you know what happened with the African American Chamber of Commerce here?
What happened?
A couple years ago, they changed the name. A new person came and took it over, right? And so the leadership changed. And when the leadership changed, it became the Minority Chamber of Commerce. So how all of these, and guess who in there?
Who?
Corporate Mexicans.
Wow.
You got to understand, like, everything is a ploy because it's been sitting down there for our people to use for all these years, but we never used it. So the money will be just sitting there. You know what I'm saying? To help you get your business going, help you get your stuff going. So when you allow your home to be infiltrated, we good for that. We allow anybody to come into our home and take whatever they want. And so as a result, these people come into your house and they start looking for your resources. Now, how can I switch my title, or how can I switch the title to include me so I can start siphoning that off? Now I switch it to minority instead of African American. You know what I'm saying? So they take it from you, give it to somebody else. Do you think the Caucasian would allow that?
No,
Exactly. So why do we?
because we out here just in Blue's Clues on Pluto.
On Pluto. On Earth, but
Just
on
out
Pluto.
here just vibing.
Right.
Nobody wants to pick up a book anymore.
That's so true. Going to all the
You
events.
send somebody a paragraph, they can be like, I'm not reading all of that. It could be vital information. So
That's real.
nobody reads anymore. It's frowned upon if you're like smart or whatever.
Yeah. Do you know how to write in cursive?
My granddad, let me tell you about my granddad, the late Reverend Walter Blevins.
Mm-hmm.
Before I even got to preschool, he would give me like the little Babar books, the King Elephant books.
Yep, I remember
they
those.
was in cursive. He would make me copy them in cursive
Mm-hmm.
and then copy them in print. And then he would grade it and he'd be like, okay. He would teach me how to read and everything. So I knew how to read and everything and write way before I got into like preschool.
People younger than you are messed up.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to write in cursive.
They don't.
So I can write a note to them in cursive and they're like,
What
is this? That's sad.
It's real sad.
So they can't read the contracts that they're being given.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You take the money from the man and give it to the woman. You take the money from the woman and you give it to the
these
child.
kids.
But you make the child more ignorant than both that
Mm-hmm.
you took it for before them.
Somebody told me that they just moved here and they were like, the curriculum that they're learning here is like 3 years later, like 3 years behind what they learning somewhere else. And I was like, that makes sense. Why a lot of kids, I hate to say it, they don't know how to count money.
Right.
They're not good at math. Wow.
So why though? So look, I came from Houston here in elementary. And when I came here in the 5th grade, I was 4 grade levels ahead reading from Houston to here. Houston is a melting pot. So the schools are going to somewhat spread information kind of evenly because you have white, Asian, Indian, Jamaican, this Puerto Rican, all these in one school. Then you go to another school, it's the same. So our people wouldn't be so much disenfranchised because we can get in those classes and learn right along with them. Here, you had the majority of us, right? In certain neighborhoods, Inslee, Uptown, East Side, West Side, Warrenton. You know what I'm saying? It was mostly black people for a long time. So it was a incentive to destroy the way black people learn in these areas. Like Lincoln Park, that elementary school in Lincoln Park, that curriculum was so trash. In 3rd grade, they were reading on a kindergarten, 1st grade level.
No.
And they were being taught that way on purpose. This is horrible, man. Workman Middle, it's another middle
Workman
school
Middle's trash.
in Shantytown, or elementary school in Shantytown with the Bulldogs or whatever.
I don't know which one that is.
I went past it the other day. It's all dilapidated. It's all grown up, grass grown up high. It's not taken care of. On Muskogee Road, there was another school on Muskogee Road. They shut it down. That was in Cantonment. All of these are like black centers, where centers where our people congregate. You know what I mean? And those schools are destroyed after they've already destroyed the people that was going to them.
They already destroyed my old elementary school, which was Spencer Bibbs.
Spencer Bibbs, where was
It
that
was
at?
over on kind of like Davis.
I never heard of that.
You never heard of it, but it's a lot of people out there that know what I'm talking about. My granddad's church was right across the street.
Spencer
Davis.
Bibbs. Oh,
Right there before you get to McGee Field.
yeah.
It was right there.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know.
They made it a resource center. But it was predominantly black. It had a black principal, black teachers,
Right.
black kids.
So, and you know about Smoke Gaynor? Remember Smoke Gaynor at school? So that which was predominantly black as well, but it's supposed to be all the bad kids or whatever. Right.
Kind of like Camelot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or Scambia Charter. So all of these places we're naming, PHS, all of these places that we're naming have been like predominantly black students. You go to PHS now, you can't tell.
You can't.
when the school let out, because I rode through there when school was letting out, I see so many European and Asian going into neighborhoods where black folks would normally thrive, right? So the question that we got to ask here is, why is this happening? Without that type of dynamic and the parents being willing to send their children to that type of destruction, then in this time, you don't get gentrification. If the parents were more involved with the curriculum that their children was absorbing at that time, we wouldn't have gentrification right now.
Right.
We wouldn't. You have to make people ignorant so they don't know what to do when you start pressuring them to take care of their property like this, or register with the city like this. And if your house ain't up to par on this, then you got to lose it and all that. We won't know how to operate when you're not teaching me anything. And that's targeted.
Very much targeted.
That's a target. That's sad.
Real sad. Have you noticed all of the 5G towers in Pensacola? Like, it's popping up everywhere.
I have.
What you think about them? What do you think about them?
Well, first of all, because I'm a person that likes to study. I like to look deeper into things, so I have more to say and talk about. And so when I was studying, what I found is that most of those towers are highly radioactive. Like, what's the word? What's that word for Chernobyl? You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't even know what you said.
You don't know what I said?
No, because it sounded like gibberish.
Chernobyl?
Yeah, I don't know what is that.
Chernobyl is a city in Russia.
Okay.
Chernobyl is where they dropped the bomb, and now they dropped a nuclear bomb, and nobody can live there supposedly now. So you have radioactive land, radioactive water, radioactive animals that's living in the land where they say it's radioactive. So somebody lying. Okay. So the radioactivity, if first of all, if you go up into one of those 5G towers, the main ones, because you got the hubs, the small, that's throughout the neighborhood. But if you go down every so often, there's these big tower things with the circles on it, and then they have those bars that's on there too, right? So when you go there, go to one of those, look at the cables that's coming out from each satellite.
Okay.
Right? They're military grade, industrial level electronic devices. And the radioactivity that comes off of those is lethal. So the people that work on them, they have to wear these hazmat suits that somewhat reflect it, but they still catch cancer anyway. Right? So as I was going into the rabbit hole, there was a guy that I was watching on YouTube, and he wrote a book about him. See, I gotta pull all this stuff up. See, I don't be knowing we're gonna talk about it, so I don't know that. You know what I'm saying? But
it's okay.
But he wrote a book about this, and he was talking about how the energy that's used on those 5G towers, all the person has to do is turn up the radioactivity to the maximum, and it becomes a weapon.
Wow.
You can focus a laser energy anywhere you want to in a direction of wherever that bar is pointing. It turns into a laser weapon. So 5G is only the beginning of 8, 9, 10G, 11G, 12G. Now, the reality we got to pay attention to is this. Remember we was talking about Netflix earlier and stuff like that. So that's the digital side of TV, right? We used to have an analog side. You said it. You said put up the antenna, right?
You got to move it a certain way.
And move it a certain way, right? Okay. So the antenna was to pick up frequencies or vibrations that were already in the air, right? Analog, which means, and analog means that neutral, like alkaline. Think about our body system. Okay. So it's alkaline, right? So the reason why they gave our grandparents that little box when they said everybody switching to a digital TV channel, you remember that when that happened? And then they gave our grandparents and our parents that box. That took them completely away from the analog signals, right? And put them on getting used to the digital side of things and only paying attention to the digital side, so that now we can hijack everything that's analog and use it for the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10G. So what you're looking at is the analog signal that you used to watch and listen to on the radio, on TV, just in the airwaves, right?
Wow.
So it's been hijacked and now it's being weaponized, right? So again, I'm gonna say this again now. This is a scrying mirror. You know what a scrying mirror is?
Kind of like what witches use.
Please say it louder for the people in the back.
Kind of what witches use.
Okay.
Oh, it's TVs too.
It's TVs too. Look, it's right there.
Wow, the
Look
black
at this.
screen.
The black screen. So what's the one black screen that almost everybody can relate to?
A phone. What's that phone?
Let me go further. In our cartoons,
The TV.
like from us growing up, you know how we have like Disney stories and like Nickelodeon. There's one scrying mirror that everybody knows, and it's mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?
Oh.
And then an entity comes out of the darkness to the front. Now she's watching TV.
Kind of like in Scary Movie, when that person's climb out the TV.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
That's right. We're looking at a scrying mirror, right? So now the digital wavelength or the digital frequency is not out. It's the opposite of the alkaline signal or the analog signal. It's the opposite. So when you put the digital wavelengths, the radioactivity or the frequencies that come from a digital aspect is corrosive to the organic being, right? So people develop more cancer. People develop more illnesses and sicknesses, and also they say TV erodes your brain.
Yeah, I believe it.
Right. So there's always a spell that's being cast. Always. Let's go a step further. You know that we had the vinyl when we talked about the vinyl music, and you would listen to that music, right? And we were talking about the healing. Remember? So a lot of people were starting to tune into the yoga and the whole naturopathic side. So we were doing like the binaural beats.
Okay.
You ever heard of that? So it's like solfeggio tones that people would listen to go to sleep or to try to heal or upgrade themselves when they're listening, right? And then on YouTube, it'll be like, oh, this one is 432 hertz, which is the frequency of the earth, right? So you listen to this, and this will put your heart on the frequency of the earth. And people's tuning in, listening to it. You know what I'm saying? I used to listen to them too. But then doing some research, because most of us are not going to think about the device that is coming through. We're not going to think about that. Every single device electronically has been pre-programmed, never to allow you to get to the 432nd hertz frequency. So you're always off. You think you're listening to 432 hertz. It sounds like you are, but you're listening to 430 hertz, and everything above 430 is silent. So you don't heal. You know what I'm saying? So people was listening to these records in earlier times, and they were singing at 432 hertz, and the vinyl record didn't block anything. Whatever they put on there, that's what came off. So even during the Great Depression, during times where we had major illnesses break out in our communities and stuff like that, we would heal ourselves with music, the same way we do when we go to church.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Okay.
Very
Look
interesting.
at that. Which leads us into our questions on topic.
Questions on topic.
Our topic of the day is the influence of the church. So we're definitely going to maybe step on some toes. You know, it's all love.
How do you feel about church right now?
How do I feel about it?
Like how do you feel about the whole experience that you have versus what you experienced when you were younger?
To be truthful, I feel like church was more enjoyable back then, like as a kid, because it was broken down to where you could get it, and it gave you like a sense of foundation. I feel like church now is just, okay, let's go by the program, and it has, you can tell people's agenda while they're in church, if that makes sense. Like, you know, most praise and worship people who are supposed to be leading it, they're just either there for a check or they're just there just to be seen. Because you can just tell. Like we was talking about, like, the decorum of church was different back then. Like, you had to dress a certain way to come to church. And if you stepped outside that, you was going to get sent back home. Now, you can just put on a Jada Waiter dress and come into church and lead praise and worship. But to me, I feel like it's a distraction, because why? If I'm coming to church and I really need healing, I'm really working on some things about myself, why would you get in front of church and have on a certain outfit that is provocative when we're in church? Who are you trying to seduce?
You know, it's only one letter between distraction and destruction.
What is it?
A and U. And all you got to do to the A is chop the top off of it, and it's a U. So distraction and destruction are the same word. Let that soak.
Let that soak, please.
Twice on it. We're going to drop 2 bombs on it for that one. Interesting.
Very interesting.
Wait a minute. What's a Jada Waiter dress?
A Jada Waiter dress is like a social influencer. She's a social influencer. And she's like that type of girl. She has a wonderful body. She shows it in different dresses. So the dresses I would say is a Jada Waiter dress would be like one that's very tight fitting. We can see all your nooks and crannies, pretty much.
Nooks and crannies. You're not in church to show your nooks and crannies, people.
You got to tell certain people that.
You know what I'm saying? Leave your nooks and crannies at home. Go learn what you got to learn. Come back. Then go to the beach and expose your nooks and crannies.
You can do that at the beach. You can do that anywhere outside the church, but not inside it. I'm sorry.
Interesting. So when I was growing up, like you said, if you were outside of, if you were that far out of control, the women of the church would, hey, you need to go handle that. You know what I'm saying? Or here we got this. They would have those blankets that they would cover you over and do stuff like that,
right?
To keep you always thinking about your morality. You know what I'm saying? But now there's the elders of the children.
Pretty much.
The elders and children are literally like in the same generation. You know what I'm saying? Interesting. Oh, not to take.
There's no type of guidance. This is just out here.
We just out here. That's a dangerous place to be.
It is, especially in the church when you're talking about people's souls. Like, come on now. Okay, so the first question I have is, how has Christianity helped Black people? What is that face expression?
You say what now?
How has Christianity helped Black people?
How has Christianity
I feel like I hear crickets.
helped Black people?
Not you giving me cricket and a side eye.
I'm giving a few crickets. In my opinion,
somebody said, "Is this real?"
Is what real?
It's late, but somebody said, "Is this real?"
Is this real? Man, type again what you talking about, because I don't know. Hold on, let me see if I can see that. Now, what is that on YouTube?
StreamYard, I think.
Oh yeah, it's real.
It's real. It's really real.
It's really real. Yeah, it's real. You can tune in if you got questions. Don't hesitate to ask. But it's real. So, what do I feel like Christianity has done for Black people? Nothing. It created more of a division between us. It created more of more of a beggar mentality, a needy mentality. And the powerhouse that we are supposed to be as a nation, the powerhouse that we're supposed to be as a people, it's allowed that to be compromised. Now, when those things were brought to us, of course, it's our natural essence to take things and magnify them to their greatest glory. We do it effortless. So you give us Christianity and tell us that's where God is. We're going to add music to it. We're going to preach in our way. We're going to turn around and add certain rituals to what you give us to make it germane to us. And then we're going to maximize that. So it's going to spread all over the world, right? Okay. Now, people have debunked Christianity. People have come out of Christianity. And now they've gone into other sect of religion with Yoruba this and Yoruba that, all the stuff that we're doing now. And look how we're maximizing that on an earth level. Nobody really cared about that before we touched it.
Right.
Let's be honest. Okay. So while they were trying to push that on us, we didn't care about that. The world didn't care about it. Now we actually accepted it. Now everybody want to be included in it. You see what I'm saying?
I see it.
So we have to understand that Christianity was just another coverage in order to keep us from growing past that dome. That makes sense.
Yeah, just right.
Because what happens when you go into church? You look at go inside most churches. You have the congregation body, and they're normally lower than the pulpit, right? And then you have the balcony sometimes too. So, and because all of this stuff matters. See, like one thing that I realize that where our people kind of lack at is that we don't study things as far as what it takes to get to a certain point. And what I mean by that is if I build a house, before I can even break the ground, I have to make plans, right? Then after I make those plans, I have to dig up the earth, build things to grade on a certain numerical in order for water flow to drain off, all of that, my plumbing, all of that. Then after I do all that, then I have to build the foundation. Right. So my foundation can be wood. My foundation can be concrete. And each one of those has its own different property. So that it has its own pros and its own cons. If you get wood and you have humidity coming from under your house, the wood will warp. Right. You see what I'm saying? So that's a con, but it's a pro to have wood because it flexes with the house. So as your house is settling, the wood will flex. Concrete cracks. It does. You know what I'm saying? But there's no humidity, so you don't have to worry about warp. But it cracks. So everything has its own pro and con. After I build my foundation, now I got to put up walls. You do. The structure, right? The framework for the house. All of that is something that has to be studied. We get to the church, right? We don't pay attention to how this level of where the general population is sitting is underneath this level, where this person, 1, 2, 3, 4 people, or let's be honest, if we want to look at it from a public perspective, the black bourgeois versus us, right? Because they're the ones that keep interfering with us getting to our true, with our true birthright. You have them on high, and behind them you have a cross. Right. So what message that sends, because a picture is worth 1,000 words, is that in order to get to on high, you have to go through me. Right. Didn't Jesus say that? Okay. So that's all good and fine. As long as the leadership or the person that's standing up there has been called and chosen by the Spirit. Ain't got nothing to do about going to theology school. You understand me? We got to talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Because this ain't got nothing to do with going to no theology school and learning how to yell and scream and run, do all that extra stuff. Ain't got nothing to do with that. The Spirit has to call you, choose you, and call you forward to do that job. That's why the Bible said that the public or the population is supposed to take care of the person that God chose to bring them this message. God ain't giving everybody that message.
You show a link.
So why we got 15 churches on one block? Very interesting.
Very interesting.
Okay.
Because everybody got a church.
Everybody. That's what we do.
And it's so many denominations.
There are.
Got 7 Days Adventist. Got Missionary Baptist. Southern Baptist.
That's right.
Primitive Baptist.
Yo.
I thought we all had the same agenda here. Why is we got divided up?
No. No, ma'am. Church is not. Most of these churches, well, I have to say all at this point, because the churches that were predated were before this paperwork, but all these churches is under 501c3. 501c, they have to be under that in order to go into their communities and set up shop. You got to be listed under the 501c3 tax law. Now, under the 501c3, there's a certain set of rules that they have, certain things that they can and cannot do. How you called by God and you got somebody over you telling you what you can and can, they filtering God.
Come on.
How can you do that? How can you even allow that to be a thing? I would much rather go be a pastor and set up a tent where I have full control in the field than set up a building and somebody tell me that not say what God told me to say to these people. But the power of the evil dollar, not all dollars are evil, but the evil dollar is what seems to be focusing itself on where we congregate. So now you got these people that are being incentivized to say, oh yeah, everything a blessing, everything gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? But y'all make sure you pay your tithes. Make sure you give this, that, and the third. But when you leave here, be ready to face the same exact battles that you've been facing the whole week and you came here to get healing from. Be ready to go face the same stuff again. But make sure you leave your money, though.
Make sure you leave your money. And if you don't pay your tithes, we got a problem with that.
I'll call your house.
I call your house. I write a letter, a flight or pension, somebody.
I'll send a bill.
Somebody.
Because you owe me that. You came and sat in here. So you owe me that money. Now, there's a lot of people out there that could probably have an issue with what I'm saying, but I really could care less.
It is what it is.
I was raised in church 7 days a week. Okay? All day long. My grandma had me in church every day.
Come on.
So at some point, you're going to start listening. You know what I mean? Things I've seen in church, most people would never see.
I could talk about it.
I could talk
about it all day long, stuff I seen in church.
Spiritual attacks.
Ma'am.
I've seen people get possessed. All these things were happening inside the walls of the church. And I have family member and people that know me that will vouch for everything I'm saying. These things are no longer a reality in the church no more. The spirit ain't moving through the church no more.
It ain't. Because it's too many distractions. I just said that.
Too many destructions. You're right.
Distractions. Too many distractions going on in the church house.
It's way too many.
People in here trying to find their husband, their wife, little sneaky link action. Everything going on in the church now.
So the streets is the church.
Pretty much. It ain't no difference no more.
Did you know that church music started as a copycat to the blues? Look now, in order to be deceived, you have to give people a little bit of the truth and then envelop it in a lot of toxic nonsense. And then if you can convince them to believe that that's real, gotcha.
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is always bliss. The only sad part is that a lot of times when the original people were founding these things, founding their church back in the older days, times like this, their hearts was pure as far as coming to bring something to their people that they thought could help them. You know what I mean? They weren't aware of how agendas unfold. Only certain ones were privy to that information, you know? So most times it was a genuine advance. You know, sister, look, God want me to tell you this. Put your hand on the Bible. Let's pray. And Bishop J.L. Smiley. Okay. St. James Missionary Church over there in Wedgwood. When I was a little kid, that's where I went to church. And he was one of the remaining pastors from the old time. So when he would come to you about hell is a real experience and heaven is a real experience, all of his passion and soul and life force went into helping you find the reality of where you're supposed to fit in all of that. Even if it was a certain misunderstanding or whatever, it was still the amount of passion and love and the reality of how he was using his mind to help his people. It was always there. It wasn't about money. You know what I'm saying? We'll figure it out. But I want to make sure that you feel solid before you go back out into the world. That was his purpose. You know what I mean? After that, things changed. After he passed away, things took a dramatic shift.
That's how my granddad was.
Like that. That's what I feel, because there's nobody can tell me anything otherwise. And out there in the world, especially in this area, people that knew who that was, they'll tell you the same thing. That man was called by God.
Had to be.
He was chosen to do what he did. You know what I mean? And God gave him a long life to do the same exact thing every Sunday. You understand?
I like pastors like that.
I love pastors like that. You know, those are like people you can go to outside of church and say, "Hey, Pastor, man, I'm thinking about this a lot of, like, you know what I'm saying? What you think about this?" You know, and then you can talk to these people, and when you leave, you know, the respect that you have for that person grows. Now you go talking to people now, and they talking in circles about they don't even really understand what they're saying. Right. You know what I mean? We've elevated beyond that way. So what do you have for me in this new world, Pastor? Well, Bible say such and such and such. No. I'm gonna tell you something.
I need the real. Be real with me.
By now, the words of that Bible should have taken the form of flesh. At this stage, we've been studying that book for so long. That the words in that Bible should now be the flesh that I speak to. How can you lead me if that's not you?
That's a good question, because I am out here just living their best life.
Their best life. You know, as long as the money flowing, it's a party.
What? As long as they can get the little Louboutins, the Gucci's, they all right.
It's sad, man. It's sad. Oh, okay. We ain't gonna. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. Okay. My bad.
So our next question is, what type of relationship dynamics has the Black church implemented in our communities? And what effect has that had one way or the other? It's the smirk for me.
Okay. So the relationship dynamic, I ain't gonna lie, it's capped out. It's capped out, man.
What you mean?
It's capped out. It's pastors are marrying men together. You're allowing a man to come down the aisle in a dress and another man to come down the aisle as if that's really a woman. And
they doing much more than that.
They doing much worse than that, but we got to talk about the things that the relationship dynamics. If I was to say that the relationship dynamic of the church today, I would say it totally goes against the Bible that they're teaching out of.
It does.
Completely against it. That word honor doesn't even exist anymore.
What?
Honor's gone.
I feel like they just pick and choose what they want to do according to the Bible and go on by their business. I don't feel like doing that, so I'm going to do this instead. No, you got to live by the whole Bible, especially if you're trying to lead me.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to be able to ingest that book and take what it's saying and then live your life according to that. Our relationship dynamics are, I don't even know the right word to put on it. What you think? Well, I mean, what you
They're
think?
Horrible.
It's
We got
horrible.
a side chick action with the church in a relationship.
Bro, I've heard about pastors cheating. We're human now. I mean, we're still people at the end of the day. But again, it goes back to your moral code and the standards that you set for yourself. People cheat on their wives, use other people's wives, sleeping with men, This is the real. Like, we got to be honest about the stuff that's going on. Otherwise, we gonna just further fall into destruction. You know what I mean? It's like it's just a giant party. You know.
That's what it is now. It's a party for Jesus in the church.
But Jesus went into that church flipping tables over
Indeed.
because he wasn't doing what was in alignment with his Father. So this is the stuff that was getting flipped over. All the music sound like it's straight out the hood.
What?
Trap, you got trap music playing in the church, acting like it ain't trap music, just because you say God or something like that on it.
It's because you quote a couple scriptures in there. It's still trap music.
I can do that in my music. I've
You
done
can.
that. I do vulgar rap. My name is Luke 1817. Go look it up. It's in the Bible.
Y'all
Bible
gotta
verse.
Stream my song, y'all.
Oh. So, yeah. But that ain't got nothing to do with this, though. We're going to say that's something different. But the reality is the church has been compromised. It's been compromised since Martin Luther King. Since Martin Luther King. Ever since Martin Luther King, there's been at least 2 CIA agents in every black church in America.
In every black church.
In every black church in America.
Still to the day?
Still to this day. Not as enforced because our people are mentally disturbed. When Martin Luther King came on and he first was signed up with the black bourgeois agenda, he was leading the people to destruction. I have a dream that one day we can all work together. That was the beginning. Then as he progressed, he started to see, and he was talking with people. Shout out Malcolm X. When he started talking to certain people, he realized that what he was doing was actually leading his people to destruction. There, that go that word again.
Distraction.
Distractions. He was distracting his people, leading them to destruction. So his later messages became, we go into the government to get our check. Then I feel like I've led my people into a burning house. They killed him.
Sure did.
You see what I'm saying? So, and he came from the church. He was a pastor from the church. So in the beginning, us working together and coming together, holding hands, kumbaya, that was the destructive message. You see what I'm saying? And the people was going for it. But then when he started to shift his mind and his people was like, wait a minute. What you mean they owe us money? Huh?
Oh, we owe y'all check?
What you mean? Million Man March? You saw how many people was included? You saw them people? So imagine if you have a Million Man March to go get your money. That's us moving in unison with each other. That's us moving on one accord. Now, in the Bible, when the Israelites had to go around Jericho, they was all moving on one accord. Then God said, blow your trumpet. And the walls fell down. Right? We hold the trumpet. Trump, Pence. Trump brought the walls down. He let you see what was really going on. This is your opportunity to see what's going on. Now, see how we just segue from the Bible into real life? Because the Bible, the words of the Bible should be moving through the flesh. If it's not moving through the flesh, then it's not ordained of the Spirit.
Right.
So you just spitting nonsense out of a book. Okay? All right, I'm sorry, I digress.
It's okay.
I'm going to go ahead and keep moving.
All right.
Shit.
So,
Shit. Crap. All that.
okay, so let's see. Can you really have a strong relationship with God without going to church?
Of course. Yes. My grandmother taught me that you should first develop your communication. And that comes by you doing the work, you know what I'm saying, praying, whatever you have to do, you know. Hold on one second, let me see something. I thought we had a comment, but I guess not. But that goes for you doing what you have to do to establish that connection. Everybody can't do that.
Can't.
Everybody can't do that because it is specific to certain factors when it comes across melanistically, spiritually, mentally, in order to establish yourself as a satellite to be able to download information. Everybody can't do that. Just because that's why I refuse to let other nations of people pray over me.
I'm like that too.
I refuse it. Because you can't, I know you can't establish a connection. So who are you praying over me to from where? From where is it coming?
It could be people in church too.
Oh, of course. Of course. And our people suffer. We make ourselves fall down to certain frequency codes where we miss it. We miss out on it.
Just because that lady is a mother of the church don't mean she got a relationship with the Lord. Don't mean it.
That's right.
She just married a deacon.
That's facts. Shout out my boy Southern Fisher. He just commented on there, man. What's up, Rob? Man, hit me up, man. We supposed to been doing some work before, but that ain't got nothing to do with this. I'm gonna shut up. But you're right though. Now, this is what's interesting to me. Most in what I saw when I was coming along, which we know now that given our current relationship status, like Kevin Samuels and all these different people that's talking about relationships, it's like, and they've kind of identified the womanhood as a point of toxicity in our communities, right? So we understand that. But when I was coming along, the women were the ones who were the most heaviest in the church.
Right.
The women would take the children with them and go to church. And then they would be poking at their husband or their spouse or whoever. Hey, you need to come go with us. I'm saved. What about you? The Bible say we unequally yoked. All this other kind of pressure to get the man to convert. So he would normally come later, right? And that, and that's what I saw. So he like, I got saved after she got saved. And, you know, this is that and the third. And so now, what you see now is no longer that type of dynamic. The whole agenda in the beginning of us was always to target the woman and the child.
Right.
Okay. That's called Willie Lynch. We need to pull that letter up and read that one day. Okay. The Willie Lynch letter. We talk about relationships through that. But that Willie Lynch letter told the former owner operator of the indentured servant. We're not going to use that word slave. Okay. Because that's a misnomer. First of all, and it's not a proper description of what our people was going through. So the indentured slave, servant, because we're going to erase slave. So the indentured servant would be the focus would be on the woman, and the focus would also be on her child, because she's going to train that child in the next phase of life, right? By eliminating the presence of the man, so there's no power structure. Right. Now the state steps in as the man, or the John Candy, which would be representative as the state, that steps in as the father to influence the mind of the mother. You want to live in this neighborhood? We'll give you this welfare. You can get these food stamps, but you can't have no man living in your house. You
can get $14 rent.
Oh yeah, but you can't have no man living in here. You know what I mean? So because of the need to survive, or the Maslow's hierarchy, the need to survive, the woman is going to go through that because there's no power structure to provide for her. You know what I'm saying? That's been destroyed. Right. So now I have to look from where I can get provision. Come over here, says Uncle Sam. I'll be your daddy. This is what I need you to teach them children. Right? So then the children grow up. Already trained on how to fall in line with Uncle Sam. Disenfranchise your father. Right. Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Come on.
Okay. So he ain't worth nothing no more. That's right. And now you have two levels of our family that are already speaking his destruction for them. They ain't even got to do nothing.
Sure ain't.
Sit back and watch. Now, woman, you know what? You need more time. You need more free time. You need more time to be able to relax and ease your mind. Send your child to school. We'll take care of them. Okay? Now, in the early part of this country, sending your child to school was so that he could learn the Freeman Rose documents, okay? Where that was the indoctrination to teach them how to be a better servant, to teach them ignorance so that they hand over all their wealth. So every generation since the invasion, we have been conditioning ourselves to give more of our wealth away and not take anything in return. Look at us now.
Just out here.
We just out here. We giving it all away. Give it to them, right? And this is what the church is also doing to our people. We're giving our wealth away. Let the church not pay the bank.
Bankruptcy.
You understand? Let that church house not pay that bank. We done built this big, beautiful, pretty church for you. They didn't need all that back then. As long as it was a building, as long as the lights came on and the water flush.
That's all they needed.
Pull you up a folding chair, whatever you got to do, but you just come get this message.
Right.
Now it has to be extravagant. TVs got to be all over the wall. Gold got to be all surrounding the door. Got to be all. The plush carpet got to be rolled out. Come on, bro. It's a game, bro.
It's
Fugazi. It's a game, and it's nasty.
It is.
Gross.
Real nasty.
It's nasty.
Let's see. Are church folk actually the meanest people ever, and why is this? I agree. I feel like they are mean. They're mean for no reason.
Why do you think that is?
Just based off experience. Like, I just feel like the church has set up this, like, level. Like you said, it's like a level of the bougie versus the plain James. And it's most like the bougie. They feel like they run stuff in the church. For what? I don't know. I guess it's because they feel some type of way because they give the most. I don't know. But if you want a cookie, you can have one because
It's not supposed to be
that's
about
serious.
that. Right. So what you're saying is that the outside world is the church on the inside.
Pretty much.
Okay, so then notice, okay, listen. People call certain people bougie. Then we have a thing called the black bourgeois. Okay? So if you acting bougie, you acting like you better than everybody, right? You the leader. You're on top. Everybody's going to follow your wavelength. I'm bougie. So you have to provide for me what I want to see. The black bourgeois, the agenda, to distract our people and destroy us while siphoning all of our money off and getting paid by other people to do so. So you're going to do it my way. I'm going to intervene and I'm going to sign all your contracts. That's going to lead your life in a certain direction. So the bourgeois is in the church. It's there.
You're there.
It's a whole aspect about destroying everybody that tries to ride with Christianity. You know what's interesting?
What?
We got one viewer on Facebook.
Because we hurting people.
Let's hurt their feelings, man. This is what I'm talking about, man. And if y'all want to call
some
in,
type of way. It is what it is.
if you want to call in, 850, hold on, 221-0396.
They feel some type of way, but it's okay.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. It's all
Y'all don't
good.
be saying that when y'all hurting people's feelings in church. They
Oh,
really
no.
want to be there.
Exactly.
Let's talk about that.
When people been paying all this money and then they fall on hard times and need resources and have nowhere to go.
And they can't come to the church to get nothing.
You can't come to the church to get nothing
Come on
back.
now. Come
You understand what I'm saying? This is the corrosion that is taking place where it wasn't there before. You know, the church has always been a safe haven for the community.
Always have been.
Even if the agenda behind the church may have been wrong, the way we represented it to ourselves and to the world was always as a wholesome, you come here for deliverance, you come here for safety and refuge. What is this now?
Just a building.
Just a building.
This building keeps on leaning.
There's a leak in this old building.
Okay.
Hey, y'all here, you know what I'm saying? We got to talk about this
We got to.
because it's real. We have to stop the destruction. Now, you know what's crazy?
What?
The rest of the country, when it comes to, because I get on TikTok all the time, YouTube all the time. I get on Facebook. You see people posting videos about things because they're researching and finding information. And it's a lot of black people.
It's a lot of black people.
They're not in the South, though.
They not.
It's few and far in between when it comes to the South.
Because this is the Bible Belt.
AKA the Promised Land.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Promised Land. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So, are those all our questions for today?
No.
Okay, well, let's continue to keep going then.
So, what is something about the church that makes people turn away?
I mean, shit, let's count the ways. We've been sitting up here talking about it. It's one of the major things that I hear a lot is the judgment factor.
Right.
It's judgment. It's like, you know, oh, you don't have enough money to pay this. Oh, oh, you look at your clothes. Your clothes is not up to par. Oh, I'm gonna turn my nose up at you. You know what I'm saying? Look at your hair. Look at your skin. Look at this. It's no longer like open arms. You know, come, let's make you comfortable. You want something to eat. Remember they used to cook at church all the time?
They used to cook all the time, every Sunday.
Home cooked.
Home cooked.
You know what I mean?
Store bought.
Wasn't no Walmart potato salad.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? Crispy crunchy.
Crispy crunchy chicken.
Crispy crunchy fried chicken.
The only time you get to play that church now is if an event or a funeral. That's about it.
An event or a funeral.
It's cooked every Sunday. So my grandma was back there in that kitchen.
My grandma.
Preparing. My grandma too.
That was yours too.
In the back.
In that kitchen.
Making that kitchen.
And then you always know when they about to go cook because they'll get up halfway through the service and leave. And then when they go change clothes, put that apron on. Yeah, it's going down when you get out of church.
It's going down then.
Everything is so, it's almost like our culture has been sucked completely away from us. All the way.
All the way.
Empty vessels.
Empty. Just vibing.
Just vibing and going to events. And partying all the time.
Let's see. What is something about the church that needs to change?
We said it already? we haven't spoken yet?
Yes.
There's a lot that needs to change. You know. Unpopular opinion. You know what? I want to see who that is that said what they say.
What the little comment?
The name.
It's Kirk Plunk 211.
Kirk Plunk 211. That's on what is that? Instagram?
It looked like Twitch.
Twitch. Oh, on Twitch. Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't know we was on Twitch. Yeah, it's real Twitch. We real. We live. You know what I'm saying? So y'all tune in with us. I mean, I don't mind playing GTA on here. We need to.
We can.
Play GTA on here? Interesting.
Live stream it.
Live stream playing GTA. All right. I'm cool with that. I'll bring the PS4 up in this mug. But anyway, we had substance.
We had it.
We had substance. Even if we were still a part of an agenda that we didn't know about, we yet had substance. And the substance that we once had is gone. It's gone.
I feel like the church has too many rules. Because you got like regular church and you got the organization part of it. And I feel like the organization part takes over. And it's just too much going on.
You mean as far as the behind the scenes?
Like behind the scenes, like I can say, for example, my church, they don't move or they don't do nothing unless it's according to the bylaws of the church. And if it don't align with the bylaws of the church, they don't do it.
But that's their job, though.
Right. But why?
You should still have the heart of Christ.
You should.
Right.
Like, for example, I can say this because it happened and it's experience. So when we were electing a new pastor for my church, because my pastor passed away. So when we was electing a new pastor, they made it clear that they didn't want any females or women trying to take on the role of pastoring because they were females. And I was like, well, why? And it was like, well, it doesn't go according to our bylaws. And that's not what it says in it. And in bylaws, it says that the female cannot be a pastor or cannot preach or whatever. So I was like, But what if we really need this certain person in line to like take charge right now? They didn't want to do that, but
So are the bylaws in alignment with with the Bible itself? Because the Bible says, "Suffer not a woman to teach."
I feel like they are, but then they're not.
So I see what you're saying. So it's selective.
It's selective.
Now the bylaws that you had that you have now, who put them in place? Do you know? Who was
I
the,
just know it's in a little green little book, and majority of the leaders of the church, like the deacons and stuff, they have this copy of the book, and at their meetings they discuss stuff pertaining to the book.
to that book? So who founded y'all church?
Who founded it?
Yeah, like who's the original
I think it was like a Pastor Kendrick
Pastor Kendrick?
way back in the day,
So that's who would have established the bylaws, unless they changed.
unless they changed.
Unless they changed them later. But if it sounds like he made those bylaws according to the way the Bible speaks, because in the Bible it does say suffer not. Let me see. Let me read it so I don't, sort of be understood. Let's see. Suffer not.
But I will say they're changing them though, because now they have like this class set up to where women evangelists or teachers or like preachers can now get in line to like preach or teach.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Well, I can hear what you're saying. So you feel like it's that it should be equal.
In a certain way, like if you know for a fact this woman is called, because I mean, hey, you can't be called, I'm guessing, because I don't know, I'm not called, I'm just there. But I feel like if a woman really was called, why not give her a chance to see what she has to say? Because when I'm listening to some women preachers, they are making way more sense than men. But I feel like it's just based on the person. So I don't know. I'm with equal opportunity, I guess.
Okay, so you for equal opportunity.
I am, but I know in the Bible it clearly says like women are not supposed to preach or teach. So.
I'm gonna read it so people can.
Okay.
Because you know me. So First Timothy 2:12-15. So it says, but I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. For Adam was first formed, then Eve, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety. So what I take from that is that what he's saying, that it says, but I. So we have to first figure out who I is to understand their mindset. Because whoever I is does not suffer a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. So that sounds like whoever I is had a mindset of patriarchy.
Right.
Okay. And according to the old stories, Adam was made first.
Right.
Eve was made second. And Eve committed the transgression, not Adam. But that's false. Because God told Adam first, don't eat that fruit. Because Adam was made first. So even if Eve brought him the apple, Adam knew better than to be disobedient.
Than to eat it, yeah.
Yeah, than to be disobedient. So the transgression was both of them. Okay, so let's see. One was being deceived. Adam was not deceived, but Adam was deceived. He was deceived by the woman. So what this person is saying is that because the woman was deceived first, that she should not be allowed to teach. But that's kind of I agree and disagree.
Okay.
I agree because from a standpoint of how the mindset of our womanhood can be penetrated. See, we don't understand the rules of engagement in war. That I agree in that sense, because obviously if you allow the woman to teach, she's teaching destruction to the children. Okay. Look at us now. Okay. So that's one form. But then I disagree with allowing a woman to teach, because it's always been understood that it takes a tribe, a village to raise a child. But the village is not the people that's out hunting and out, farming and stuff. The village are the ones that's there preparing the meals, and because those are the people that come together, and that's the women. So women are teaching the children when they're from birth until the point where they start going to school. It's the woman teaching the children.
Right.
Right? So what is the woman teaching the children should be the question. Because if it's Sukihana, that woman should not be allowed to teach.
Should not be allowed to teach.
You
She got
understand?
kids, though.
You know, that's good. You know what I'm saying? For her, I want to talk about the kids because they ain't do nothing. But the reality is that she would not be allowed to teach me anything. But Frances Cress Welsing, she definitely should have a platform because her basis is moral. Shahrazad Ali, she should definitely have a platform because her basis is from a moral, convicting, get your life together standpoint,
Right.
and understand yourself and who you are. That woman should definitely be allowed to teach. You understand what I'm saying? So it was like you can see where the patriarchy was being established when you pay attention to the words. But who is I? I have no clue. Is it Timothy?
Probably might be Timothy. He wrote it.
He did write it. Interesting.
Okay, let's see. Do you think church is a great place to find a significant other, and why?
It used to be.
It used to be, but not no more. No,
The
ma'am.
streets is the church now.
Streets.
The streets is in the church now. So I mean, you said it. Sneaky links and side
Sneaky
pieces.
links,
Like
side pieces.
it's the streets is in the church now. You know. I think that in order to find a mate, there's a certain you got to spend time with people now.
We do.
You know, you got to spend time with people and really learn them and really understand how their life flow is and how their mindset is working because and that has nothing to do with church. That's just all over the board. You know, you have to take the time to get to know people, especially now with so much deception going on.
So much.
You know what I mean? Or distraction. Interesting. What you think? You think you could find a mate in church?
Heck no. Heck
What?
no.
But okay, so let me ask you this, because like you younger than me. So in your generation, does it seem like the guys that are in the church are more well-rounded or well put together, like how they portray themselves? Because you see them, they taking the pictures together. They all got the, you know, they playing the part, the image,
They playing the part.
but it's not really what.
It's men in my church right now. I know for a fact half of them are married, but on Friday nights they is in the club trying to get on somebody else.
You can find me in the club. What 50 Cent said? Pocket full of dub. Look, baby, I got you. Yeah. I got the Philly blunt.
I peep everything. I'm a peepologist. I peep everything.
You have to.
You have to.
I can see all these angles like hexagons. Bars. Somebody gonna steal that. Wow.
Bars.
Peep everything. A peepologist.
I am.
You got to.
I'm a people watcher. I just watch people. People think I'm just snooty or don't want to talk, but I'm really sitting there watching you, trying to figure you out. And I can tell a lot. Just in the few moments I watch you.
What about me though? What that mean?
What do you mean?
You said you people watch.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so what you figure out about me?
I feel like you're a walking book, a walking encyclopedia.
Yes. You see it. It is what it is. I have a deep yearning to know. I want to know. If there's something wrong with my car, I'm going to trace the line all the way back to the oil. I have to know what caused that. That's just how I am, you know? So, and being like that, I tend to know a lot about a lot.
A walking encyclopedia.
Walking encyclopedia. Okay, I'll accept it. I'll accept it.
It's with love.
Okay, it's with love. Oh, we're going to have merch coming too. Just want to let y'all know that. I've been building the Enlightened Bear.
You have?
Mm.
Really? I love it.
Yes, the merch is gonna be the bomb.
Okay.
Okay, so you have to get started on your merch too.
I got merch.
You do?
Yes.
So when you gonna put your stuff together so we can?
I mean, I have an Etsy store.
So you gonna use it through Etsy?
Yeah, might as well.
Doesn't Amazon print on shirts and stuff?
I mean, you can, but you got to sign up for like an Amazon business account and all that type of stuff.
Oh, I see. But see, you won't have to touch nothing that way. We'll talk about it.
Well, Etsy, I got it through like a drop shipper. So as soon as you order it, they just literally print it out at wherever factory it is and they send it to them.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna need to get some information on that.
Okay.
You don't mind. But yeah, let's continue forward.
Okay, so would you date a leader of the church and why?
Would I date a leader of a church?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, obviously in my space, it'll have to be a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Why?
I would, because this gonna sound bad,
Go ahead.
but I mean, it's the truth though. Because I mean, honestly, I don't really care about that. It just, for me, it won't have any type of gravity on my situation in life because at this point I know better. So, yeah, that's just like a normal person to me. Would you?
No, not really.
The women seem to be, when a woman is in a leadership position in a church, she seems to have more sense about her. What's that one chick? She like preaches all the time. Like people be reposting her. She's kind of young, but
Talking about Sarah Jakes Roberts.
Yes, her. Like the way she teaches people, like and the conviction and passion that she has behind what she's talking about. Like I can get online with that because she be talking about some real stuff. Like you know what I'm saying, and she really leave you thinking about things. Like you know what I'm saying, like. Dang, man, maybe I should.
I love her.
You know what I'm saying? Not eat that steak tomorrow because it's harming my body. You know what I mean? She one of those type of people that'll make you think.
I like Sarah.
Yeah, I do too. So, I mean, when it comes down to that, now the men, in my opinion, a lot of the men have been compromised and they've grown weak.
Yeah,
they're weak.
That's why
They're weak. Even
they
when they
look
think they're
sketchy to me.
strong. They look sketchy.
Yeah, they sketchy to me. Like they act sketchy.
Oh, when they do stand over you breathing and all that.
No, it's just I like authenticity. If I said it right. I like you to be authentic. So if you like me and you a leader of the church, just come out and say it. Don't be doing all these trying to drop hints or whatever or do things to make it seem like you like me behind closed doors, but in person like you act a different way. To me it makes me not really want you like that. It's like I always have to wonder, like, is he being authentic this time, or is he just playing? I don't know.
That the kind of like the snake movement type thing.
Now, if he was really truly meant for me, I'm pretty sure I could pick up on it. But no.
So if the reality, if it's happening to you, it's not only happening to you.
It's happening to a whole bunch of other women.
Right. So you coming into the spotlight as if you ain't doing nothing, but then in the shadows, that's like what Satan did to Eve in the garden. That's what Satan did to Eve in the garden.
The devil was an angel too.
Yes.
Sure
And his
was.
name was Samael. Oh, we can break down that origin story.
Go ahead.
We can talk about that origin story. The angel's name was Samael. And Samael was also the very same angel that Jacob wrestled. Remember? And he pulled a muscle or whatever, and that he wasn't gonna let that angel go until he blessed him. You remember? That was Samael. Samael is the deceiver. Samael is the deceiver. See, you got man. Things that make you say, interesting.
Very interesting.
You're moving like Samael out there, man. But moving like a snake.
There's a lot of snakes out here. They just out here.
They just out here. Rat snakes, rattlesnakes. Now we got pythons coming up here from South Florida. We got pythons coming up here from South Florida, squeezing stuff. All kind of snakes. Sad.
All right. What did you learn today?
What did I learn today?
Mm-hmm. We're at the wrap up.
I learned that our people need grace, patience. Mm-hmm. I learned that we have a ways to go to recalibrate ourselves. Mm-hmm. I learned that there have been set in place so many distractions to keep us away from who we are. Mm-hmm. And I learned that it's time for things to change. Right. What did you learn?
I learned that it's so much wrong going on in these churches. And it's not just what I see on Sundays. It's you see it. Yeah. They see it. Everybody see it. That's so true. Why we ain't saying nothing?
Maybe enough people haven't learned yet.
I do feel like when you do say something like correcting form, like if you try to correct the church, they make it seem like you just the devil.
Of course. Of course.
I've lived that before.
I've been kicked out of church before for asking questions.
Kicked out? Like literally they just told you to like get out?
Yeah, like for asking questions.
What'd they say?
How can you tell me, this was Sunday school. I was in Sunday school. How can you tell me or speak to me that, man, what the Asian doing, that's an abomination. Buddhism, that's an abomination. Hindu, that's an abomination. Muslim, that's an abomination. The only thing that's going to get you to God is through Christianity. Okay? This is me. Right? Have you ever studied those other religions? Nah, I don't need to study them. You know what I'm saying? The book say right here that anything outside of this. So how do you know that what those people is doing is wrong if you ain't never experienced it?
That's a good question.
How can you teach other people that what those people is doing is wrong if you ain't even set foot in a land? There has to be a reason why they study the way they study. Whether it's wrong or not, experience tells you the truth. Then you can come back to other people because like Christ did when he was 13 to 33, you traveled to go figure out what was going on in the world around you, or you went into a deep form of study, picked up their books, picked up their way of life, and studied those things to gain an experience, to come and teach people from that experience. Have you done that? No. So you're just talking out the side of your neck.
Pretty much.
Use my thought process. So after I asked that question, I was told to leave.
But they allowing so many other abominations in the church.
No, you can't make. It's against the rules to make people question their faith. It's against the rules. People will fight you tooth and
they'll fight you to the death.
You know how many wars have been fought over religion?
A lot of them.
Okay. People do not like for their faith to be tested, because if their faith is tested and the ground is now become shaky, now where am I? You know what I'm saying? What am I doing then? You know what I'm saying? I don't have no identity. I thought I was supposed to be doing what I'm doing, but so people fight.
All the time.
All the time. Interesting. Interesting. This has been a good show.
It has. It's been really good.
It's been a really good show.
Really thought-provoking.
A really thought-provoking show. Let me give you a tidbit of information right quick, because my boy sent me this video, and the video was very interesting. Talking about our country. Okay, and so in reading what was on there on the little description or whatever in the screen and stuff, what was there was that we have in our country, we have 147 or 57 U.S. embassies, right? Or embassies that are inside of our country. So the embassy is there for the foreigner, right? So if I was to go to Japan, there's a U.S. embassy in Japan because it's a foreign entity. So Israel, Afghanistan is all the same. So then you come there and you study through all of those embassies, and you find that there's no embassy for an African American. That's so. Now we supposed to be brought here from somewhere else on a ship, but there's no embassy for the African American. So what is that telling you? That we already at home. You don't need an embassy for the people that live there. Okay, they just go straight to the government.
Right.
However, there is an embassy for Native Americans. The long hair, straight Chinese-looking people that they call Indians out west, they have an embassy. So they're foreigners.
But they're not though.
They are.
Are they?
Okay, we're going to go outside of the church talk for just a second. Okay?
The Native Americans.
The people they call Indians in this country, they are foreigners.
When I think of Indians, I think of people from India.
No, well, you have those are Hindu. I call them Hindu. So because the Indios was classified over here. Okay. So Indians, when they call them Indians, I call them Hindu. That Indian word is very, very broad. Makes sense, because its original wording was from I just had a brain fart.
It's okay.
From indigenous or indigo. Okay, so indigo is black or dark hue, right? So when I can call somebody in New Zealand an Indian because they're dark hue, the original people. So I go to Australia, you know what I'm saying, and I get an Aboriginal from Australia, I can call them an Indian because they're the dark hue. So the Indians in Hindu were called Indians because dark hue. Now you come over here, you have the Indios people that they first came across. Same thing, dark hue, right? Dark hue. Now, these people that they call Indians, that and all this, okay, and they what we've always been shown as far as Westerns and all that, those people are Chinese people. Okay, let's go a step further.
Wow.
But we got to talk about it because, and when you study the history, when you go through like the archives down at the they got a website for it, but the archives that are down at the Library of Congress, all of this stuff is in there. It's all in there. That's why they would not let us read. They didn't want us to read anything. So the slaves that was here on this land, it was against the law to read. It was against the law to learn how to read. Because if you got down in those archives, you would see the truth. Okay? So in ancient China, there was a race of white Chinese that lived in the mountains, right? And they were supposedly a natural race, but if you know how to go back further, you know that's not true. They were planted. So they decided to migrate. And they were going to migrate north because everybody heard of this land in the east. Okay, because east of China is America. Right. So you heard of this land in the east, so everybody started this migration north to go up through Russia. At the same time, you had the European class who was new from the cave system, the Caucasoid, who also had the bright idea of migration. They traveled east to Russia. In Russia, they met. Okay, the Bering Strait is the only way when it's frozen that creates a walkway that'll go across from Russia into Alaska. But you can only catch it at certain periods because it's not always frozen, solid enough. So what that means is these people traveling would meet each other in Russia. They would stay there for so much time and blend and intermarry and create a new version of themselves. Okay. Now you come across the Bering Strait when it's frozen. Look at the Alaskan people. You see how they look, the Eskimos, right? Look how their facial features. Look at their hair. Look at the way they do life. Okay, the way they dress. Now you come further down into America. Now you have what we call American Indians. They look just like the Eskimos.
Wow.
You understand? Okay, now we're going to go a step further.
Okay.
After a certain period of time had passed, because we can, spend all day talking about it. The Spanish conquered, was it the Spanish or the French? It was one of them. They conquered China, Japan, that whole area, Taiwan, all that, right? Cambodia. They had the bright idea to transfer slaves from this mass east through Hawaii. Look how the Hawaiian people look.
The same.
They look like Asians, right? Through Hawaii into Mexico. Look at a Mexican. They're false identifying. They're not Mexicans.
Wow.
They're Asians. We have to understand what's happening. So when you come, those people that they brought into Mexico, this was the agenda that they gave them. When you get to this landmass, we will change your identity. We will give you a new title. And we will give you land. But your job is to come over here and make your way north into America to help us conquest this land. They still traveling the same route to this day.
They are.
They still come across the border to this day. It's the same exact route. They've been traveling since they was brought over there as slaves. It's the same route. They come. Okay, let me ask you this question. If you're looking for a better life, let's just say Mexico is really that bad that you're looking for a better life. Why are you focused on going north? Why don't you just go south? I mean, Venezuela seemed to be all right.
Venezuela, Brazil,
Bolivia, you know what I'm saying? Chile, all these different places, Argentina, that you can go to establish a way of life. Why is everybody always pushing north to come here?
I don't know.
It's an agenda. It's the contract. You come north for a better life. Just like they tell the African, you come to America for a better life. They tell the European, you go to America for a better life. Everybody they tell to come to America for a better life.
What better life?
They took it. Okay?
The U.S. is ghetto.
The U.S.
Real
has
ghetto.
become ghetto because of the people that we allow to run it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants a better life.
It was that family that's running it.
Oh yeah, that's facts. But that's the disease. That's the disease. Everybody around the world has wanted a better life except us. We ain't went nowhere looking for a better life from nobody else. Nowhere. Never. When have you ever seen an African American? Man, a group of us, we finna get on the plane and go travel to China so we can have a better life.
They don't do that.
They don't do that. We the only group that don't do that. Think about it.
And if you say it to somebody, they be like, "Nah, I don't think you should do that."
Right.
Why?
Right. Because they're not going to give it to you. But over here, it's a plan to steal from the original kings and queens of this earth. That's real. And they still doing it to this day. They come over here, oh, I got my visa, so I can work under a student visa, right? So I can make money at your businesses in your neighborhoods and then send it back home so it can convert 30, 40 times, 50 times, 60 times. What does that mean? That means that our people, us, we're more valuable than we think we are.
But ain't nobody gonna learn that if they don't read a book.
That's facts. But you got to know what to read. That's also important. That's where the spirit come into play. Things have to be, you have to be guided to things. And things have to be shown to you and revealed to you. You know what I'm saying? But you can't do that without the essence of the spirit. And we're letting that go. We're letting other nations of people deceive us into walking away from the spirit. So we become unlearned. We become ignorant and stark dumb, like flat dumb. You know what I mean?
Dumb as a box of rocks.
As a box of rocks. You think we won't be punished? Of course we will.
Heck yeah.
You shall have no other gods before me. And we allow this people to tell us what to do. We allow these people to tell us how to live our life. You know what I'm saying? What we can and cannot do on our own land and on our own property, we allow that.
Mm-hmm.
We got other gods before the spirit.
It's definitely the money, the green.
The green, you know what I'm saying, has
Mm-hmm.
become a god. It's sickening. But one day it's going to change.
It will one
You know
day.
what I mean? One day soon it's going to change at 11, 10:55. It's 10:55.
We're running on schedule.
At 11.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the hand on the clock is on 11 too. Isn't that crazy?
It is.
Synchronicity. So, we hope y'all learned something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We hope that people will accept the message. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you feel like it resonates with you, then, drop a comment.
Or questions. You can always send questions. Don't be afraid to send questions.
That's right. And why is it not running across the screen?
What?
Oh, I took it out.
I think you took off the look. Yeah.
Okay. So Beauty in the Brains podcast at Gmail is the email address. If you're following on Facebook or YouTube, especially YouTube, like the video, share, subscribe, all that.
Because sharing is caring.
Yes, because sharing is caring. We need to begin to learn these things that are called occult or things that are hidden from us or hidden in plain sight. A lot of the institutions that we used to believe in or that we would believe in are no longer giving us this type of edification. You ever heard of Pastor Stephen Darby?
Yeah.
They killed him. His message was like this.
He's trending on social media.
Oh yeah. My sister put me on him like 5 or 6 years ago. And I've been listening to this man, and everything that he's been talking about been coming real. Everything. And he got in a car accident. They killed him.
I'll kill that man.
Yeah, they killed him because he signed the contract, the 501c3. He had a church.
Wow.
We have to begin to expand our mind again. We've allowed our mental space to become shrunk and condensed and then boxed in and controlled. So we're going through certain notions, and then we feel like we're doing the right thing. And then later that thing that we thought was right come back to bite us in a way that we weren't even expecting because we're unlearned on our environment. You know what I mean? And so unfortunately, we lose a lot of good people and a lot of potential leadership because of the contracts that we sign. We talked about that before too.
We did.
You know what I'm saying? It's a reality.
It's a reality.
So anyway, but yeah, if y'all can, dog, go check out Pastor Darby. Like, he's a bomb for real. Stephen Darby.
I think it's Stephen.
Pastor Stephen Darby on YouTube. But if you're out there, tune in with us. Come back next time. You know what I'm saying? And we'll be back with some more heavy topics. Because you know how we like to get heavy.
We like to get real heavy.
Heavy conversation. We're going to be bringing that merch to y'all too soon. So y'all be looking out for some merch to be popping up from us. And yeah, if you got any questions, hit us up. And it's been real. I am Luke, 1817.
I'm Moel, and I definitely want to give a special shout out to Noodle Talk. They're on here. How y'all doing? Y'all watch Noodle Talk now.
Oh, what's up? Oh, okay. We need that type of interaction. Oh, that's cool. Our comments is popping up on the screen now too. And they're coming from different platforms. Okay, we're going to look into that a little deeper. All right, y'all. Well, we got things to go do, so we're going to go ahead and get out of here. It's been good. Y'all have a beautiful day. Look like the sun is shining outside.
Stay cool, stay hydrated, stay safe.
Yes. Drink your coconut water. Don't forget to eat your water. You need H3O.
H2O3?
H3O is what's in fruit.
Yeah, that's fruit water.
That's fruit water. So fruit water is going to be the best thing for you in this sun. Just letting y'all know that. So do you infuse your water with stuff?
Do I infuse it? Sometimes.
Sometimes?
I do like lemon, lime.
Okay.
Cucumber.
Yeah. See, that's good. Okay. Well, yeah. Water infusions are the bomb. Y'all take care of yourself. You got anything else to say? We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Peace.